If it takes one person to transform a relationship, who's going to be that person, right? And
Right.
at what point do you say, how do you quantify that, right? Do you say like, okay, well, I love this person, or this person's meaningful to me in some way, or this is my family or my sister or whoever, right? I want to have that relationship with this person. I'm going to do the work, and we're going to dig into that. But at what point do you say, how long am I going to be the one giving and giving, right? Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Especially if that relationship has fallen apart and you're trying to rebuild. How long is that going to take? And that's something that you get to decide. And so much of this work and so much of the mindset work are the thoughts we get to choose. Okay. So we're going to dig into that, but I want you to think about that. It takes one person to transform a relationship. Okay. Carrying around this manual for yourself and other people is not serving you, because we are meant to feel good. And I don't mean the buffering, filling the void behaviors, right? The feeling good, right? We know the intent behind having one too many glasses of wine, or the busying and the perfecting and all of that. I'm talking about feeling content in your heart and soul. We are meant to feel that way, right? But we create so much chaos because of the way we believe, because of the way we think, because of the programming. But what I want you to understand is ego is not this overinflated sense of self. It is our sense of self, okay? And we need a sense of self in order to feel self-love. So our ego, our mind serves that purpose so that we can feel that, right? But when we lead from that place, we create chaos. You are not your mind, because your mind is made up of thoughts that you have chosen, or have, again, it's just that pathway in your brain that you've traveled so frequently that you believe it, right? I believe that this is who I am, and it feels safe. Yeah. It feels safe for us. It's like, this is, if I'm the strong, independent, organized woman, and I show up that way from that ego place, right? Like that's showing up from ego essentially. I mean, and again, it depends on the circumstance, but if I'm showing up that way, that's my safe cave. Yeah. Like the cave over there where I have to just lead from my heart, like, ooh, that feels a little unsafe. I don't want to go there. But look what we do. We sacrifice that false sense of comfort for true joy, true beauty, and true contentment in our relationships, right? In those certain circumstances, right? We create thoughts. And again, it doesn't necessarily always have to align with how we identify, but so much of what shows up for us is because of that messaging from the world, right? Because of what we saw in relationships. Everything that shows up in our life, there's things that we just cannot control. People, places, things, events, our past. We can't change the past, right? We can't go back and change it. We can't control the future. You can plan for the future, you can step into the future, but you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, right? Like we don't have this crystal ball. My husband coming home late from work, let's just say, right? That's a circumstance that I don't necessarily have control over because I can't control him. The only thing I can control is this, right? I can't control other people. Just accepting that they are just thoughts coming in because you've traveled this pathway, because we are human, right? We default to these negative thoughts. So my husband comes home late from work. I can't control him. I can't control the circumstance, but I create negative thoughts about the circumstance. We get to choose our thoughts. We get to choose our beliefs, because beliefs are just thoughts we keep on thinking, right? So what do we think about relationships? What have we seen? Well, if you, depending on the home you grew up in, or the romantic relationships that you saw in your experience, maybe they were positive ones, maybe they were dysfunctional ones, or maybe there was, the pleasing, there wasn't the give and take one, it was a one-sided relationship, or you watched The Notebook and you watched all the Disney movies where the woman was saved by her Prince Charming, right? Like, so we want the fairy tale. So we have all of this messaging from, again, such a young age. In order to really get the results we want in our relationship, obviously our actions have to be inspired actions, empowered actions, positive actions. The only way to do that is to shift the thoughts. It all goes back to the way we think, right? When we think about our thoughts in any situation, in any circumstance, I want you to ask yourself, is this true? Is it right? Like that's a great way to kind of just step back, not judge yourself, not fall into that place of resistance, not go down that rabbit hole with the default thoughts. Is this true? It takes work, but it doesn't take a lifetime to unlearn these thoughts, right? It just takes I mean, a little bit of digging in every single day, like you said, like, and you watch how things start to compound and just transform.